Good morning. So yes, I'm looking very pink, I have to say, before my run. And actually that's kind of quite fitting. It was unintentional, but the fragrance I'm reviewing today is this one. It's Divain 770, which is a clone of Acqua Di Parma Sakura. So if you saw my video yesterday, essentially I reviewed this house, Divain, not quite sure how it's pronounced. But anyway, they are sort of a clone fragrance brand essentially, and this was the fragrance that won all my challenges. So if you haven't seen that video, definitely worth checking it out. But I wanted to do a review of this one today in a bit more detail, so my full sort of fitness fragrance review. So you haven't seen these before, I'm going to go for a run, I'm going to walk to the gym and do a gym workout and essentially rank this on 5 categories. Those categories are price, versatility, projectional performance, compliment factor and longevity, and I'll do a couple of tests like a shower test for that one as well, give my overall score and really whether I recommend this fragrance as well. And obviously with this being a clone fragrance as well, I kind of want to link back, even though I'm going to score it on this one today, I want to link it to the actual original fragrance, which is Acqua Di Parma Sakura, a scent I really like, one of my favourite scents. Never owned it personally, but my brother has, and I used to spray it when he wasn't there and just sort of keep smelling it so he doesn't know I actually wasted some of his sprays. But yeah, the scores will be based on this one today, but overall I will mention whether I think it's worth buying this or getting the original, and just really whether this would be a scent for someone, male, female, anyone, because this is a unisex scent. Before we do that though, I want to do a quick note breakdown for you. So you'll see a screenshot now, and I'll just talk about the notes that I detect. So I'll be honest with you here, I don't want to lie and say, I definitely detect that. I don't really get that citrus opening, which you would have just seen it says. For me, this is just very floral. I don't really know what the difference is between yellow mandarin and stuff, but there's no real citrus here. This is all about the florals. I think the notes I probably would say I do detect is definitely that Sakura or cherry blossom. Definitely the musk, because you get this kind of washing smell of it. It smells like really clean laundry. That's what I do kind of get with it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's much nicer than that. It's got this sort of sweet pink sort of smell to it. You know that sometimes you smell something, it smells of a colour. It smells pink, and it's that cherry blossom, that pink pepper, I think. And yeah, just that musk at the end just makes it feel really clean. Certainly more feminine. I think maybe that is the jasmine kicking through that makes it feel more feminine. But I absolutely love it, and I think, it's one that I'm more than happy to wear. I don't think it's too daring or anything like that. It's just very clean, and I've mentioned this before. Clean scents are always popular. Anyway, what I'm going to do then is put a couple more sprays. I've sprayed 10 times already, and then I'm going to rank 2 categories on my run. So that's going to be the price and the versatility. Again, we're going to be talking about the price of this and the versatility of the fragrance as a whole. Let's get on with it. As always, I apologise if my nose is running. I've put too many layers on today, it's warmer than it seems. Anyway, we're going to start with price or value for money. So for the actual original Acqua Di Parma Sakura, I did a bit of a search this morning, and apart from eBay, I couldn't find anywhere where there was 100ml of it anymore. You could only get 20ml, which is about £39, and 180ml, which you would have just seen, was £122. That's the cheapest I've ever seen it, by the way. But of course, you can get the clone of this, Divain, £12 at the minute. They got 60% off. That's an absolute steal. So the sort of lightness of this fragrance to the actual original, I reckon it's about 95% the same. You would not notice it. The only time maybe I do is if you're a little bit closer up to it and you spend like right up to your nose. I think you can just tell the Acqua Di Parma actual original, just the ingredients are either slightly better blended and obviously of a slightly higher quality. However, if you're paying £12 for something that smells very similar to something that's around £100, and I can barely notice the difference, that tells you it's very good value for money. It's a great price. This is one that you don't normally get a clone of. It's not that well known in its own right. Now, in terms of a score for it, I'd probably say I'm going to give it an 8. And the reason that is, there are so many clones out there, obviously on this website, the Essence Vault, Armath, or Armath, however you pronounce it, where you can get high quality fragrances that are a similar ballpark price, if not even more expensive, that I like just as much. So Cuba Prestige Classic, which is a clone of the Amen, obviously I got the other day, that is really good. And even Armath do a clone of Tom Ford Noir Extreme, and it's brilliant. It doesn't smell again as high quality as the original, but it does the same job, and it's around that same sort of £10 to £12 mark. And obviously I've got some Arabic fragrances, 24 Hours, which is a clone of Black Orchid, and Choco Musk, which I got yesterday, which I don't think is a clone, but it's, you know, for its price range, it's so good. And that's why this one, even though I think it's an absolutely amazing value for money, because it's a clone, I know there's loads of clones out there that you can pay a similar price for. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, yeah, just for that. Just because there's so many out there, they're all great. But yeah, it's brilliant for that price. So 8 out of 10, I think it's a good score. Case of versatility. So how versatile is this phrase for different ages, different occasions, different sort of clothing wear? Well, I don't think this would be appreciated by anyone under 25, really. I think it would be, it's not an old smell at all. I think anyone between sort of 25 and 60 could pull this off. It certainly leans more feminine. And as I said, it's kind of got this fabric softener, clean laundry smell to it. It doesn't maybe have enough complexity, I would say, to really dress it up. I think a woman is much more likely to be able to dress this up than a bloke, because it doesn't have those kind of darker notes that a lot of men will like. You know, like your vanilla, your leather, you know, those sort of scents. But I think for a casual lunch, if you went out for a casual lunch, a formal lunch, office scent, this does it all. I don't think it's a gym. I don't think floral scents do that well in the gym. You want more citrusy sort of scents. As I said, even though it says about citrus in the opening, I don't really detect that. This is very much floral forward, cherry blossom, but it's very pleasant. Again, it's not going to ever be, in those situations, too risky either, so you can wear it to the gym. It's not going to go, that smells completely out of place, like a Gucci Guilty Absolute, which is strong leather or ombre leather by top. It's never going to be too daring. I just don't think it'd be your first choice. So for that reason, just because I think older, younger wouldn't really love it, it's kind of that 25 to 50 year old everyday wear, wouldn't cut through the cold. 7 out of 10. I think it's very good. It's never going to be a bad time to wear it, but I don't think it's ever going to be the number one for any occasion. But signature scent, office scent, it does the job absolutely fine for me. So you could have this quite easily and do 90% of the things you want to do. So yes, 7 out of 10 for versatility. Right, let's get this run done and we'll do projection next. So there we are, run done. Sun's coming out now, thankfully, which is good because it wasn't very nice, I have to say, running. It was a bit of rain, but not too bad. Anyway, I couldn't really smell the fragrance during the run. I have to say, didn't really project. Again, I kind of smelled it when I stopped and, you know, did my stretching at the end. But yeah, not a massive projector. But there's one more test we need to do, of course, the room spray test. So what I'm going to go do, 10 sprays upstairs, come down, drink my tea, and then we'll go and see how much it fills the room. It didn't do that well at this yesterday, but obviously it was clashing with all the other sprays. So hopefully today we'll see how it does in its own right. Okay, so 10 sprays. Right, go drink my cup of tea and then we'll be back up. Then time to head upstairs and see how it smells. Now I have to say, on fabric it does seem to last pretty well, but I'm a bit disappointed with the projection because I feel like I can notice it, but maybe not as much as I thought. But we'll see. We'll give a score once we've done this room test. Right, it's definitely there, which I couldn't notice yesterday. And I think that's because the Barondo sort of kicked through, but it's still quite faint. I think I'd be surprised if someone mentioned that, if I'm being honest. I don't think that'd be a strong enough scent, particularly in a bigger room than mine, to really notice it. Maybe a small office you would. So based on that and the fact I didn't really notice it on my run, I'm going to give Projection a 6 out of 10. I don't think it's terrible at all. I really don't. I think, again, I don't want it to be influenced by me because I like beast mode, strong fragrances in your face. This is definitely a little bit more subtle. It's there. It's noticeable. If someone's really close to you, like sat literally right next to you, they would notice it as long as you put enough on. But I know the original fragrance isn't overly strong either. So for all fragrances can be quite strong. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for this. I think it's probably enough for most people, but I just don't think it packs enough of a punch. But it's still very pleasant. It's very nice. I just don't know if anyone would really, really mention it. It's not quite strong enough to do that. Anyway, head to the gym now. I'm going to walk there and we'll talk about compliment factor. Okay, then, so compliment factor. So I'm only really going on my experience with this cologne fragrance, but I'll also talk about my brother with Sakura, the actual real Acqua Di Parma. So yeah, I've never really had a compliment on this, I must admit. And I've asked for sort of parents and, brother and stuff and other people, what do you think of this one? And it tends to kind of get the response of, yeah, it's nice and clean. That's probably the main thing. I don't think you'd buy this one for compliments. I don't think floral scents are those real big compliment getters anyway. I think they're just very clean and nice. The ones that I do tend to get compliments on, if it's a floral fragrance, tends to be rose notes, because rose is really in your face. But this sort of cherry blossom and maybe the jasmine, maybe it's just not quite as strong. But that's absolutely, again, compliments aren't for everyone anyway. Sometimes you just want to smell clean and nice, and that is exactly what this is. So, I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, but if you're looking for compliments, this wouldn't be the first one that comes to my mind. When my brother's had Sakura, again, he never had compliments on the actual Acqua Di Parma either, but I always noticed it. I always said, yeah, that's nice. Particularly again, if he asked me what it is, it was almost like a love at first sniff, really. But it doesn't, when someone says to me, oh, what are your favourite fragrances, what ones really stand out, this one probably doesn't do that. It's probably one that you'll have in your collection as a bit of a rotational scent, one when you just want to feel a bit clean. If you're going, you've just had a shower on a hot day, go for a nice walk in the evening, as I said, or a little work lunch or a lunch with friends, probably more suited for that rather than going out for compliments specifically. So with that being said, I think you can get compliments. I'm going to say that now because it's certainly not horrible or daring. But I just think if you did, it would probably be more of a, oh, that smells nice. Well, yeah, you do smell nice. Rather than, that's really good. I think you need a sweeter fragrance for that or a bit more punch to it. So I'm going to say 6 out of 10. I think that's fair. Again, I'd be really interested if anyone has had an experience with Sakura or this cologne fragrance, just to see if they've had any. But I think this one's kind of those who don't maybe want to stand out so much, just want to have a nice, pleasant smell. And if that's the case, you give it a 10 out of 10. But if I do get any compliments at the gym today, I always say this, I'll mention it. And the deal is, it'll go up to a 10 out of 10 if that's the case. But for now, 6 out of 10. Okay, so workout done, no compliments expected, again, couldn't really smell it. But of course, before we give a longevity score, it's got to survive the shower test. I'm going to do 8 sprays on each arm, so quite generous. And yeah, we'll see how it smells after. I do love that scent, very nice. Okay, so I've just left the gym, it's time to smell my arms. It did quite well yesterday, this fragrance on longevity, so yeah, let's see how it does today. Yeah, it does pretty well on skin, I must say. Longevity in terms of just lasting, just sticking on clothes and skin, I think that's probably the best thing about this one. It's really good. I actually think its performance, or sorry, I should say its longevity, is actually better than the original. And I think that's probably because it's slightly more synthetic. Synthetic notes do tend to last a bit longer. But that's got to be 70-80% as strong as when I put it on in the shower and it's a really warm day. So I really do like that about it. It's not a massive, like, wow, that's really strong still. And I think it's still one that, 5-6 o'clock it'd probably be gone in terms of on my arms. So, I've had other phrases that I said to you, it'd still be there in 5 or 6 hours' time. This one, I definitely think it'd be a case of reapplying, but either way, that's not bad at all. So, with that being said, what would I give it as a score? I give it a 7. I think that's there. I don't think it's quite in that top echelons of really, really strong performance, but I think on a slightly cooler day, this would probably just about hold on. But yeah, you wouldn't notice it by the end of the work shift or anything like that. So yeah, I'm going to say it's not bad at all. It's probably a 7. For most people, it would do more than enough. It's not cloying or anything like that. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Okay, so we are home and I have done 34,500 steps, so about 5 hours of exercise this morning, nearly 18 miles, all wearing Divain 770, which is the Acqua Di Parma Sakura clone. Total score for the 5 rounds I did was 34 out of 50, so nearly 70%, a pretty decent total, I have to say. The only reason it probably didn't get more is I just think, particularly if you pay more for like the actual Sakura, the real Acqua Di Parma Sakura, I think it's going to lack a bit of that punch. And even this clone, I think some people just want that little bit more oomph to it to get those extra compliments. And I think Acqua Di Parma are really good at that for sort of clean scents, so the Blue Mediterranean line, the Colonia line. And I just think maybe when you're spending that similar price as those are for a Sakura, it'd just be a little bit too much. But we're talking about the clone anyway. If you know the scent, or if you're interested in buying this scent just based on the fragrance notes and what I've mentioned, this will do the job. This smells 95% the same, and that's why it's got a pretty decent score today, because this does the job. It really, really does. To be honest with you, I wouldn't buy the original now because this one is so good, and I really love the scent. It won't be the last time I buy this, by the way. Yeah, it's lovely, and it really is. I just think maybe it needs that extra kick. It just smells very clean, very nice, and for some people that may just be what you're looking for. And if that is what you're looking for, if you can get this for 12 quid, love it. I think it definitely leans more feminine, but yeah, it's a lovely scent, and I think you will get compliments. I say you won't get any big compliments, but I think if someone's sitting close by you, they probably will say you smell nice. It's not daring. It could be used as a signature scent, but yeah, it probably doesn't have that real kick to it to give you those really big compliments, those really, you smell amazing, what is that? But yeah, it's a lovely scent and I'm very happy with it. Final thing I just want to say, I've just realised I've just gone over 50 subscribers. Thank you so much. And if anyone would like me to do a sort of live chat, talking all things fragrances, darts, fitness, whatever it is, let me know in the comments. Let me know what times you're available, sort of UK time relative to where you are. And then hopefully we can arrange something as well. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one today. I'm going to wear this a little bit more, to be honest with you, because I do like it. And yeah, I'll catch you later.